My friends, as I am not in your physical presence, I can't actually make it rain on you, nor would I actually want to give you the money. But I can give you the next best thing, a rolling list of 74 people who potentially face up to 20 years in prison for federal crimes related to ongoing riots. Ladies and gentlemen, the feds are dropping the hammer. They announced that since the start of the ongoing riots in Portland, they arrested about 100 or so people. 74 are facing very serious federal charges. Some of them just got citations. Some of them will be going to prison for up to 20 years. I imagine some of them will go to prison for 20 years. I'll tell you what, man, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I want to read you through. This is the press statement, the immediate release from the DOJ. We got some interesting information coming out of Seattle. So the other day I talked about the potentially feds raiding this van. As it turns out, it's a Seattle Antifa group that got arrested in Kenosha with riot gear and controlled substances. The cops located a group of people coming from the Pacific Northwest to Kenosha. I wonder whatever for. And this answers, I believe it answers the question that Andy No asked when he said, why was there no rioting last night in Portland? Because they all got in their cars and were speeding as fast as possible to get to Kenosha to join in the fray. We will read through this, but let's get started. 74 people facing federal charges for crimes committed during Portland demonstrations. Oh, come on, DOJ. Demonstrations. Yeah, I get it. Legal language needs to be precise. We want these people to be convicted. Well, I shouldn't put it that way. If they're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, I would like them to be convicted. If any one of these people cannot be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, then I want to see them let go. Plain and simple. U.S. Attorney Billy J. Williams announced today 74 people are facing federal charges for crimes committed adjacent to or under the guise of peaceful demonstrations in Portland since at least May 29, 2020. There you go. Under the guise of peaceful demonstrations. Bravo, good sirs. For more than 90 consecutive nights, Portland has been home to large demonstrations and protests against police use of force and anti-black racism. On many nights after peaceful demonstrations end, various public and private buildings have been the target of vandalism and destruction. Local, state, and federal law enforcement working to protect these buildings and ensure the safety of peaceful demonstrators have been subjected to threats and assaults from violent agitators while performing their duties. Quote, violent agitators have hijacked any semblance of First Amendment protected activities, engaging in violent criminal acts and destruction of public safety, said U.S. Attorney Williams. The U.S. Attorney's Office and our federal law enforcement partners are expeditiously working with local and state law enforcement to identify, arrest, and prosecute these individuals that are disrupting the rule of law in our communities and physically attacking our law enforcement officers by destroying property. Violent agitators not only delay real reform, but make our community less safe by keeping law enforcement from responding to other critical calls for service. Now, I want to point something out. There may be peaceful demonstrations, and I respect their right to do so. But you need to understand, when it comes to these riots, and what I'm not seeing from this, the people who were down there were shielding the rioters. They call it respecting a diversity of tactics. There are people who go down there knowing full well they will engage in crimes, and other people don't dress the same way, knowing they will shield those people from their crimes. That's why they all wear they typically will all wear the all black. The idea is, if you commit a crime, they surround you. The cops can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt it was you. This is a challenge. They did it in D.C. during Trump's inauguration. About 200 or so people all got arrested, most of them wearing all black. The government tried alleging conspiracy because the people coordinated their clothing. I don't necessarily agree with that. I understand, but it's a tough prosecution they ended up losing. And the idea is you can't just charge someone with conspiracy because you saw them wearing the same clothes. I got to agree with the ruling on that one. I want to see these people brought to justice, but could you imagine being out for a jog wearing a black hoodie and black sweatpants, and then you get arrested and they're like, you're being charged with conspiracy? It's tough, but you need more than that. But that's what they're trying to do. So the point is, when they say there are agitators doing this stuff, I can respect them trying to be very legalistically clean, as it were. Like, make sure they get a clean prosecution, don't muddy the waters. It needs to be stressed that these people coordinate with the peaceful demonstrations, and they have multiple tiers of who's going to go to jail and who's not. They're hoping that by blending into the crowd, they will get away with it. And the people in the crowd can go, oh, it's just a peaceful protest. Keep that in mind. They say, while the FBI supports and safeguards constitutionally protected activity and civil rights, there's no permit for assault, arson, or property damage, and these are not victimless crimes, said Ren Cannon, special agent in charge of the FBI in Oregon. Among the victims of violent crime are business owners, residents, and individuals exercising their First Amendment rights through protest or other legitimate forms of expression. The nightly violence has to stop, said Russell Berger, U.S. Marshal for the District of Oregon. It is drowning out the voices of the many who are calling for change and pulling police resources away from their primary mission of keeping this community safe. We must all come together to find a productive way to move forward. As the nation's primary source for fire investigative knowledge, ATF remains committed to investigating those responsible for committing arsons in our communities and holding them responsible for their illegal actions, said ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jonathan McPherson. As a reminder, there is a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years for arson. ATF takes these violent actions seriously and will work diligently to bring justice to the victims. I am loving it. You'll love to hear it. Let me just stress, when it comes to these people calling for harsher penalties, not the problem. If it's illegal, it's illegal. The issue is, are we going to arrest? Are we going to prosecute? The federal government have been the only ones actually doing anything about this. This is the most important part as it pertains to Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and the Democrats in Oregon. The state police retreated because the district attorney would not prosecute. It was up to Trump and the federal government to come in and actually arrest all these. Let me do a slow roll. All these people right here. This is, I believe, 74 people. Some of them are getting citations. Most of them are being charged assaulting officers. Check it out. They say several of the charges being used to prosecute violent agitators carry significant maximum prison sentences. For example, felony assault of a federal officer with a dangerous weapon is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Arson is punishable by up to 20 years in prison with a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years. It is important to note that while some federal charges require crimes to be committed on federal property, others do not. Violent acts committed throughout the city of Portland under the guise of peaceful protest are being evaluated by local federal prosecutors for prosecution. They are coming for the rest of you. Some might get away with it. Many won't. These cases are being investigated by the FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, the ATF, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement's Homeland Security Investigations, the Federal Protective Services. They're being prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Oregon. Yeah, I just want to, I'm glad, you love to see it, man. Like I've been saying, the feds have been working on this the whole time. They don't just walk up, arrest you, and then throw you in court. They got to file paperwork. They got to get warrants. They got to get evidence. They file the paperwork with your name on it. They come, they arrest you. Boom, there we go. Now all these people who thought they were going to play stupid games get to win their stupid prizes. They say indictments, complaints, and informations are only accusations of a crime, and defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. I'm loving this statement. Absolutely. These people are being arrested. I'm happy because they've been arrested. They're being charged. It shows the federal government is willing to take action. So when they tell you, if Donald Trump is in charge now, then why isn't he solving the problems? There you go, buddy. It's right there in front of your face. You think Joe Biden's going to send out these agents to go and deal with this? No, he's going to be like, I understand the rage of the peaceful protests. I'm not taking a gamble on Joe Biden. You got to be crazy. I'm seeing people, you see these videos they call in a C-SPAN? No, I'm not having it. Innocent until proven guilty. See, they're not fascists. That's a constitutional right. So let's actually see what's up. They say to help identify actors who are actively instigating violence in the city of Portland, the FBI is accepting tips and digital media depicting violent encounters during demonstrations. If you have witnessed unlawful violent actions, we urge you to submit any information, photos or videos that could be relevant to investigations at FBI.gov. Specifically, the FBI is assisting partner agencies by asking for the public's help in identifying individuals who participated in or may have been witness to criminal activity at the following locations. They say near or inside the Multnomah County Justice Center on May 29th, near the Chase Bank branch shortly before 1 a.m. on May 30th. And they say tips can be submitted. Excuse me. So Andy No asked an interesting question the other night because apparently the unrest stopped. Now, I did mention this briefly in the beginning. Check it out. Andy said it looks like there was no late night violent protest or riot in Portland for the first time in 93 days. Something is off. Antifa wouldn't just stop. Could it be because they're terrified after hearing that FBI Portland is stepping up its investigations? Well, we have this. FBI seeking information, arson and destruction at Justice Center, Portland, Oregon, May 29th. Look at all these photos of people. Maybe they'll find them. Maybe they won't. I think this does play a role in it, but I think we now know exactly what the plan was. They are just going to Kenosha. Well, I tell you what, the governor of Wisconsin has agreed to allow federal law enforcement to come down. This is going to be a mistake. Check this out. The police surround this van, smash the windows, pull people out. A cop jumps in, drives the van and parks it somewhere. This is a crazy story, but you'll love to see it. Okay? These people were caught with riot equipment. We know what they're doing. Riot kitchen. What do you think that's all about? We're just here to give people food. Shut up. Riot kitchen. You're there to go provide supplies to rioters. And it turns out that may be the case. Now, again, innocent until proven guilty. So they smashed the window out. You know, it's unfortunate, but we'll see how this plays out. Post-millennial rights. Members of Riot Kitchen 206, a no-charge kitchen serving protesters, activists, movements, and those in need in Seattle, Washington, have been arrested by authorities in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after police suspected that they were preparing for criminal activity related to civil unrest. Kenosha police released a statement following the arrests that acting on a tip, they had surveilled the vehicles with out-of-state plates fueling gas cans. The vehicles contained gas masks, helmets, protective vests, illegal fireworks, and suspected controlled substances. And there it is, illegal fireworks. But they're just trying to feed people. Why are you bringing illegal fireworks into Kenosha? What about all the videos we saw from the Pacific Northwest of them throwing explosives? In Seattle, a cop got seriously injured. He got burned on his hand when an explosive went up. I think it was his knee, actually. His knee got hit. Serious injury. And now you got a group from Seattle coming in with illegal fireworks? No, I'm not buying it. So the Kenosha Police Department put out this release. They say a video of the arrest taken by onlookers quickly went viral. In the video, law enforcement officers emerged from unmarked vehicles and appear to have been from multiple agencies, including the U.S. Marshals Service. Woo, that's the feds, baby. Coming in. Kenosha police later confirmed that they led the operation. Here's the tweet. Kenosha Police Department for immediate release. They say, during the early evening hours of August 26, 2020, Kenosha Police Department received a citizen tip alerting us to several suspicious vehicles with out-of-state plates meeting in a remote lot near State Highway 50 and Green Bay Road. Acting on this information, Kenosha police offices located the suspicious vehicles and took up surveillance. Kenosha police were assisted by the U.S. Marshals. The vehicles were a black school bus, bread truck, and tan minivan. Kenosha police confirmed the out-of-state license plates. Police followed the vehicles to a gas station near Washington Road and 30th Avenue. Police observed the occupants of the black bus and bread truck exit and attempt to fill multiple fuel cans. Suspecting that the occupants of these vehicles were preparing for criminal activity related to civil unrest, officers attempted to make contact and investigate. The officers exited their vehicle, identified themselves, were wearing appropriate identification, and then detained the occupants of the bus and bread truck. The minivan attempted to drive away, however. Kenosha police stopped this vehicle and ultimately forced entry to the minivan and arrested the occupants. The vehicles contained various items that included helmets, gas masks, protective vests, illegal fireworks, and suspected controlled substances. The 9 individuals were arrested for disorderly conduct and are pending charging decisions by the Kenosha County District Attorney. First, the most important thing out of this letter, somebody tipped them off. Good. You know what that means? The people of Kenosha don't want you there, bringing your riot kitchen trash into their town. Don't bring it to where I live either. You guys know the story. I set up a speaking event with famed anti-extremist Daryl Davis, who de-radicalizes members of the Klan, as the keynote speaker in my neighborhood, only a few miles from my home at the local theater. And they came from out of my area down here. They were calling from across the country, threatening this business, and they canceled on us. Fortunately, the event still happened. But I'm sick and tired of people coming from outside where we live to threaten us, to destroy our property, our businesses. The goal of our event, it was a business venture. That was the plan. We wanted to put on a big event We wanted to be able to give people an opportunity to meet people they want to talk about. And that event was threatened by Antifa. We ended up losing to varying degrees, we ended up losing money. And I think ultimately we broke even. I'm not entirely sure. The general idea, though, is that people who don't live here were trying to harm my business. I won't have it. They tell the local papers, we won't allow them to come to our neighborhood. You kidding me? You came to my neighborhood. And that's exactly what we see here. Bravo to the people of Kenosha who called in and said, not in my town. You'll love to see it. And most importantly, they let the cops do it. And the cops did. I tell you what, man. I understand why some people would come out to Kenosha armed and say we're defending businesses because the cops weren't there. But we need the police to take care of this. We don't want armed civilians to be the ones who have to be dealing with this. And we want the police to be dealing with this. The problem is the left attacks the cops, demoralizes them, and they're breaking them down. What's happening? Exactly what you'd expect. When the cops are demoralized, when they quit, when they're demonized, when they're told by the governor, stand down. Mostly, well, I don't know if he told them to stand down, but in general, you know what I mean? Well, then you get cops who don't show up. And then you get regular people who show up to fill that gap. Now, the important thing here that I will stress, innocent until proven guilty, and I will point out there is one potential pitfall. Under what reason did they stop the van and forcibly remove people? Did they have probable cause? I'd actually imagine the answer is yes, considering Riot Kitchen was written on the side of the bus in the photo. Take a look at this photo they've got. You actually see a bus that says Riot Kitchen. If they saw, and the windows are all boarded up, that seems weird. If the police saw these vehicles, they knew they were from out of state with ongoing riots, I'm willing to bet probable cause was fairly easy. But the disorderly conduct charge is interesting. And my concern is the exclusionary rule. Will they argue that the police had no right to stop the van and smash the window and pull people out and arrest them? We will see. In this viral video, they're claiming that, our friends were just trying to go there to feed people. So are you admitting that they were aiding and abetting extremists and terrorists? Be careful with your words. The incident occurred after the 7 p.m. Kenosha curfew was instituted on Wednesday. In a statement to the Kenosha News, the Kenosha Police Department said citizens need to be off the streets for their safety. Curfew will be enforced. Riot Kitchen has been a fixture at Seattle riots, including the armed takeover of the Chaz. According to their GoFundMe, during CHOP, we built a full functioning kitchen in Cal Anderson with an experienced kitchen staff and an array of vegan, gluten-free, vegetarian, and other dishes. The page also says that Riot Kitchen was founded by Mayhem, a queer black woman who started out by wanting to help feed the protesters at the George Floyd protests in Seattle. Jennifer Schurl, a Riot Kitchen board member, told the Washington Post the group was putting gas in the organization's bus and food truck when officers stormed them. She said it was pure craziness to suggest they were using the gas for criminal activity. It's two giant vehicles and generators, Schurl said. We don't have guns. We don't have weapons. We're there to feed people. That's it. That's interesting. I thought they had illegal fireworks in the vehicle. Are the cops lying? Hey, maybe. I'm not going to blindly trust the government. Innocent until proven guilty. But somehow I think I believe the cops are going to come out on this one correct, right? Rioters have taken extreme measures to hide their identities, including those in Portland and Seattle wearing press stickers on their clothing while throwing objects at police, including glass and plastic bottles. Earlier in the day, Governor Tony Evers said that he would be increasing the presence of the Wisconsin National Guard to ensure that the individuals can exercise their rights safely, protect state buildings and critical infrastructure, and support first responders and firefighters. According to Kenosha police, 9 individuals were arrested for disorderly conduct and are pending charges. Riot Kitchen claims that 4 have been released. Rioters in Kenosha, Wisconsin have been destroying businesses in the area since Jacob Blake was shot by cops. This we understand. Hopefully, I say hopefully, we see more action like this. 74 people facing charges. The DOJ is letting us know they're not sitting by and doing nothing. So let me just make this clear one last time. When they say Donald Trump can't do anything, Joe Biden recently tweeted, remember, all the violence happened under Donald Trump's watch. Did it really, Mr. Biden? That's true. It is. It did. Guess what? The DOJ is acting accordingly, and Donald Trump is condemning it every which way he can. And I respect that. You, however, Mr. Biden, are hiding in your basement, and the Democrat governors and mayors have rejected federal assistance for too long. At this point, I have no faith in you or any one of these Democrats to actually uphold the law and protect our communities. What am I supposed to do when I say I want my friends to hear someone talk about ending white supremacy and Antifa threatens to burn down the theater? I won't stand for that. And apparently the Democrats aren't going to do anything about it. So what am I supposed to do? There's only one other person who said he will stand up to it, and it's Donald Trump. So guess what? It's unsurprising then. Donald Trump, his odds are improving. And I got to tell you, man, there's a C-SPAN video 9 minutes long of Democrats calling in C-SPAN saying, I quit the party. Walk away is real. You know what? I'm going to say this. Brandon Strzok, if you hear this, I don't believe you started the walkaway movement. You discovered it. You know what I mean by that? It was something that was ready to explode. And Brandon Strzok did his research. He saw it. He saw walk away and he said, this is it. Now, I get it. He really did start the campaign, the hashtag and all that. It's brilliant. But what I'm trying to say is there was something ready to burst. And he was the one who set the meme forward and popped that bubble and boom. Now we can hear it. I'm going to do a video on this over at youtube.com/Timcast at 4 p.m. So come and hang out. Let's talk about the repercussions of this. Yesterday, I said that the riots supporting it was backfiring on the Democrats. It is worse still. From bad to worse. This will be fun. I'll see you all at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel, and I will see you all then.